In this session, we're looking at Gair and Karunatillake. Further readings 1 in lesson 1, that's on page 11. Naham bhikkhave anyameka dhammampi samanupassami yo evam saddhammassa sammosaya antradhanaya samvattati yathaidam bhikkhave pamado bhikkhave saddhammassa sammosaya antradhanaya samvattati. The sentence structure here very much follows the structure of some of the sentences in the first part of this lesson, so I don't need to go over that in detail again. So, I do not, O monks, detect anyam ekadhamampi, one single other thing, yo evam, which so samvattati leads to the samosaya antradhanaya, to the neglect or disappearance, as well, antradhanaya specifically is disappearance, so it's a neglect and disappearance of the saddhamma, of the true teaching, the good law also. Yathaidam bhikkhave, as this, O monks, pamado. Pamado bhikkhave saddhamassa sammasaya antradhanaya samvattati. Saying the same thing now in a simpler way. Pamada, that's the heedlessness, lack of mindfulness. Samvattati leads to, datives, sammosaya antradhanaya, to the neglect and disappearance, saddhammassa, of the good dharma, the good law, the true teaching. Let's look at this prefix sad, as in saddhamma. It's from the root meaning to be. Our English word is, the German ist, from that same root. In Latin, esse, to be. Greek estin, it is. So sad means being, that which is, and then by extension, what is true, what truly is, and by further extension, it's just a general meaning of virtuous or good. So the saddharma, the good law. I mean, the saddharma pundari, the lotus of the good law. You often see phrases like sadguru, one's good guru. As a noun, sat or sad, depending, of course. As a noun, it means the truth. We have the mantra from the Upanishads, asato ma sadgamaya, ablative asato. We're into Sanskrit here. It's all good stuff. Asato ma sadgamaya. From gam, to go. Gamaya is the causative form, make go, therefore lead. This is the imperative gamaya. So asato, from the non-sat, from the untruth, ma, me, sad, truth, lead. This is the accusative, but it's a neuter noun, so it's the same as the nominative. Accusative of motion, gamaya, sad gamaya, to the truth, lead, from the untruth, lead me to the truth. Asatoma sadgamaya. The word antaradhanam, disappearance. Antara, cognate with our inner and inwards, inside, and dhana, from the root dha, meaning to put. It means putting inside. So if something disappears, it's as if it's been put inside and is therefore concealed by something else. That's the imagery of that word. So the in Sanskrit, antardhana, Pali antaradhana, put inside, disappearance. The next verse, next sentence. Naham bhikkhave anyameka dhammampi samanupassami yu evam saddhammasa titya asammosaya anantaradhanaya samvattati yathaidham bhikkhave appamado bhikkhave saddhammasa titya asammosaya anantaradhanaya samvattati. So I mentioned before, this samvattati, it leads. You'll see here samvattati. You very often find that when you're at the end of, where you're quoting something, even quoting the words of the master, even though it doesn't appear as a quote, or just to round off what you're saying I am repeating what I've heard elsewhere, you'll put a ti, meaning thus, as in thus have I heard. And you notice, let's use this verb, samvattati, it leads. Where you put a ti onto the end of a word which ends in a short vowel, it automatically lengthens that vowel. It's not a grammatical lengthening, only a phonetic lengthening. It doesn't grammatically alter anything. So that's why you see it written as samvattatiti, which is the way of writing and saying samvattati ti. This second line is effectively saying the same as the previous one, almost word for word, but putting things in a negative form. So, Naham bhikkhave samanupassami, I do not, O monks, discern or detect. Anyam ekadhamampi, anyam other ekadhamampi, even a single thing. So, even a single, I do not discern one single other thing. Yo, evam, which thus, samvattati leads to the titya, asammosaya and anantaradhanaya. Titi is from the root sta, Sanskrit sthiti, Pali becomes titi. So from sta to stand, the word literally just means standing. It's cognate with our station, stance. The meaning here is being able to stand up, withstand, be permanent, or be steadfast, to continue, to endure. So I discern not one single other thing which so conduces, that's samvattati, which so conduces to the titi, to the endurance, to the asammosaya, to the non-neglecting, and the antaradhanaya, the non-disappearance. Notice sammosa, neglect, asammosa, non-neglect. Antaradhana, disappearance, anantaradhana, non-disappearance of the saddhamasa, of the good law, the true doctrine. Yathaidham bhikkhave, as this, O monks, appamado, so non-pamada, not falling into pamada, not losing your mindfulness and your self-recollection and awareness. Appamada, and now he says the same thing in different simpler words. Appamado bhikkhave, appamada, non-pamada, O monks, samvattati, leads to, is conducive to, titya, the continuation, asammosaya, the non-neglect, these are all in the dative here, anantaradhanaya, the non-disappearance, saddhammasa, of the true doctrine. The third line, third sentence rather, virtually identical, with the difference of one key word, which is kusajjam, which is here given as idleness or indolence. I will read this to you and then explain the word kusajjam. Naham bhikkhave anyameka dhammampi samanupassami yo evam saddhammassa sammusaya antaradhanaya samvattati yathayadham bhikkhave kusajjam. Kusajjam bhikkhave saddhammassa sammusaya antaradhanaya samvattati. The word kusajja, it's actually, let's start with the root sad in Sanskrit, which becomes in the present tense a bit irregular. The change from it means to sit. Sad, root sad, sidati, he sits. Notice this flipping between the a and the e. Do it a bit in English as well. You don't say I sitted, you say I sat. So anyway, here it is. We just get this change of vowel from the root. Now, kusida in Sanskrit now, I probably have it in Pali as well. Kusida, sida, sitting. The prefix ku is the opposite of the prefix su, which is, means good, sukha. Su has an opposite also in du, udush, sukha, dukkha. But this, it's not quite an opposite, near opposite. The ku has the meaning of badness or wrongness, and it's very similar in function to, and could also be directly cognate with, the Greek kakos, meaning bad, as in cacophony, bad sound, and unpleasant sound. So kusida mean bad sitting. Now think of good sitting and bad sitting. A good sitting, you're doing something useful. Hopefully I'm doing a good sitting here. Good sitting and meditation. But kusida, a bad sitting in the sense of lounging about, lazing around, the bad sitting. Therefore it came to mean idleness. And you form an abstract noun. I won't go into the detail of how you form the abstract noun in Sanskrit. It's just a bit complex at this point and you don't need it. But the kusajja in Sanskrit, actually, it would be kausadya as the abstract noun. So kusida is a person who sits badly, therefore is lazy. Laziness would be kausadya, which in Pali becomes kusajja. So, kusajja, bad sitting, idleness. So, I do not, O monks, see one other single thing which is so conducive to the neglect and disappearance of the true doctrine, the good law, as kusajjam, as our bad sitting, as our idleness. Kusajjam bhikkhave, idleness, O monks, saddhamassa sammusaya entradhanaya samvattati. Idleness, O monks, leads to the neglect and disappearance, the sammusaya antradhanaya, of the saddhamma, saddhammassa, of the true doctrine. Next line now, next sentence rather. Naham bhikkhave anyameka dhammampi samanupassami yo evam saddhammassa titya asammusaya anantaradhanaya samvattati yathayadam bhikkhave viryarambho. Viryarambho bhikkhave saddhammassa titya asammusaya anantaradhanaya samvattati. The only word that's different here from the previous ones is the viryarambho. Viryarambho. The basic meaning of arambha means starting something or getting it going, getting it moving. Viryarambho, the getting going of the virya, of your energy. So getting your energy going, getting the effort flowing. That's viryarambho. So this sentence is the same as the previous one, save that viryarambho is exchanged for appamado. And the last sentence now in this reading one. Naham bhikkhave anyamekadhammampi samanupassami yo evam saddhammasartitya asammosaya anantaradhanaya samvattati yathayidam bhikkhave anuyogo kusalanam dhammanam ananuyogo akusalanam dhammanam. Anuyogo bhikkhave kusalanam dhammanam saddhammasartitya asammosaya anantaradhanaya samvattati. The critical new word here is anuyogo, which is given in the glossary as application, practice, employment. Well, yes, it is. That's how we could translate it. Let's just look at the origin of this word to help us to see into it. It's our well-loved root, yuj, yunj, meaning to join or to yoke. It makes the verbal noun yoga, which means linking, joining, cognate with our English word yoke. And of course, through Latin, jungere, join, junction, it's all that same word. And the prefix anu, which has the idea of following along, going along with, as in gam, to go, anugam, meaning to follow or go along with. So anuyoga is not just linking yourself to it, but with the idea of hitching yourself up to it and being drawn by it, drawing along with it, the anuyoga, hitching yourself up and keeping going in that way. So that's how they convey the meaning of applying yourself to something and practicing it. So, Naham bhikkhave, I do not, O monks, samanupassami, I do not detect, discern, anyamekadhammampi, any other single thing, yo, which evam samvattati, so conduces to the titya asammosaya anantaradhanaya, to the permanence, to the asammosaya, the non-neglect, anantaradhanaya, the non-disappearance, saddhammassa, of the good law. Yathayidham bhikkhave, as this, O monks, anuyogo, our application, kusalanam dhammanam, to wholesome states or wholesome things, wholesome practices. Ananuyogo akusalanam dhammanam, that is, and non-devotion to, non-following of, akusalanam dhammanam, of unwholesome dhammas, of unwholesome states. Anuyogo bhikkhave, again he's saying the same thing in simpler words. Anuyogo bhikkhave kusalanam dhammanam, the application amongst to wholesome dhammas, saddhammasartitya sammusaya anantaradhanaya samvattati, is conducive to the permanence, the standing, the asammosaya, the non-neglect, anantaradhanaya, to the non-disappearance. And I'm sorry, I forgot to mention at the beginning of this clip that this passage is translated in Bhikkhu Bodhi his translation of the Anguttara Nikaya at page 104, paragraph 114, bracketed 17 and following. So that's the end of this clip. The next one will be reading 2, further reading 2 in lesson 1.